Sometimes like that's why I love getting indie books, is because they come with this gorgeous art most of the time. Good art in the book. I love a night trope. I do. I'm having FOMO of this. So I don't know. I guess I'll have to read it and find out. Hi everyone, welcome back to the Reading Gals YouTube channel. I am one half of the Reading Gals. I am Michelle, and today for you I have a very large indie book haul. All of these indie books you can find on Amazon, or you can go to the author's website directly, and usually you can order them there. Or if you have a local independent bookstore, you might be able to find some of these there. We're going to be talking about what the Goodreads rating are for these and the synopsis of them, and also if they're part of a series, standalones, and if they're on Kindle Unlimited, which I know is very important to a lot of readers. First up, we have Born of Starlight by Margaret Kay. This is a Rapunzel retelling. Let's read the synopsis together. This loose Rapunzel retelling challenges the thin lines between devotion and love, between duty and freedom. The Legends of Henosis is a debut fantasy romance series exploring the many fables of a magical, compelling realm. I don't want to give away too much what's on the back, because sometimes, honestly, I feel like the back can give away like mid-book spoilers. So I'm just going to say that this is a Rapunzel retelling, and that is why we got it, because we are very intrigued by any kind of Disney-esque fairy tale retellings. This has a 4.06 on Goodreads, which is a pretty good rating, especially for an indie book. And it is the first in a trilogy, and it has not been traditionally published yet. And there's a map. This next book is probably on the more popular side for indie books, but this is one that I put on my like 26 books of 2026 that I really want to read. This is Sword of Kaigan by M.L. Wang. You may be familiar with their work. They wrote Blood Over Brighthaven, which was one of my favorite books last year, so that's why this is high on the TBR for me this year. This is not a romantasy. This is a historical fantasy book, and I really am curious about it because I feel like this has been on Book Talk, BookTube for a long time as a very popular book, and I always thought it was so interesting that I never saw this at most bookstores like Barnes & Noble or things like that. And actually the only way you can get this is an indie copy. So you can order this on Amazon though, or from the author's website, I believe. But yeah, indie only, which I think is interesting. This book has a 4.43 rating on Goodreads, which is pretty high, and is a standalone, which I think is awesome. I love fantasy standalones because sometimes you're not in the mood to start a whole new series. So that's why this is really high on my TBR. And even better, you can also read this book on Kindle Unlimited. Next, I have two books that I bought specifically because of the covers. I thought the covers were gorgeous. And that is Bones and Fangs. Bones is the first one, Fangs is the second one, and I think there's going to be more books in this series. I don't think it's a duology, but this is a post-apocalyptic romantasy series. I know everyone was losing their minds over Daggermouth this year, and so I think that this series is like picking up in popularity also because it is getting traditionally published, and I think that genre is just really popular right now, so this is one that people are definitely leaning into, and one that I also am excited to read. Bones has a 4.12 on Goodreads currently, and Fangs has a 4.37, which is really good. I heard the second one is better. There's no fan art in here, but honestly, like, I love the covers so much. Whoever did the artwork for this, amazing. I think the traditionally published ones are getting a similar cover, so I'm glad that we're not losing this art. Unfortunately, these are no longer on Kindle Unlimited. They were for a long time, but I think now that it's getting traditionally published, you can no longer read it on Kindle Unlimited, but if you do want to read these, I believe you can still order them on Amazon. These are two books that Jennifer picked up. I had not heard of these. I am really intrigued just based on the art on these. I mean, look at these, they're gorgeous. So first we have the Wraith King, and then we have the Beast Lord, and this is a series of interconnected standalones. The art on these are just everything you could want. Sometimes, like, that's why I love getting indie books, is because they come with this gorgeous art most of the time. A moment for the spines that have like pictures in them. I love when they do that. Let me just show you, like, that's so beautiful. And this one, gorgeous, gorgeous. Oh, also the spine, or the pages on these. What? I'm just looking at it in the camera like, wow, it's pretty. And beautiful art in this one also. The Wraith King has a 3.66 currently on Goodreads, which honestly I still feel like that's pretty good. Like, I'd never judge books solely based on Goodreads ratings because some of the best books that I gave 5 stars had under 4 stars on Goodreads, so can't always trust that. But this one has a 4.07, which is pretty good. And yes, these are on Kindle Unlimited. Jennifer actually bought these at an independent bookstore down in Vancouver, Washington, and I don't know if you can get them on Amazon. I'm assuming you can, or you more than likely can get them from the author's website. You may be familiar with this author's work. Her name is Juliet Cross, and she wrote Firebird, which came out in 2025, I want to say. And her second book in that series, called Bloodsinger, just came out in 2026. And I believe these are dark romance, dark romantasy, so check your trigger warnings. Probably for all these books on this list. Just do that. Next we have Between Tides and Thunder. I have been seeing this book float around a little bit more on TikTok lately, which is exciting because it's kind of high on my TBR just based on the synopsis. Let me read this to you. She was raised to hate him, now she shares his bed. Princess Maya of Tundran isn't allowed to want. Not freedom, not love, not even her own future. Instead, she spent her life healing others, healer trope, or healing others' pain and swallowing her own. But when her father strikes a fragile alliance with enemy kingdom Arbinge to crush a rising rebellion, she is bartered into a marriage she didn't choose for a crown she doesn't want. She expects a prince and gets a dark commander. Okay, so this is like a arranged marriage situation, which I'm kind of into. That could be good. I don't know. Something about this book is just calling to me, and let me show you the art in this book because, oh, one of my favorite things about indie books is when they include good art in the book. If you have original copies of The Everseas by L.J. Andrews or any of her series, she is so good about putting art in those books, and I'm kind of sad that they got traditionally published because now the art isn't in it, which sucks, but maybe it'll come back in like special editions or something. Okay, first of all, this is the art and the map. Gorgeous, gorgeous. I want to show you one picture, but I don't know if this is a spoiler because it's towards the end of the book, but I have no context for what this means, so if you don't want to see it, then just look away for 5 seconds. I'll tell you when we're done. But look at this. This is making me want to read this so bad. Major FOMO. Okay, I'm done. You can look again if you were looking away. But yes, I am very, very interested in this book. Kind of high on my TBR as far as this list goes. This has a 4.31 on Goodreads currently, which is really good. It is on Kindle Unlimited, and I believe it's a standalone, which is intriguing. Love that. Next we have A Fortnight to Forever. Let me read the synopsis really quick because this was like drawing me in. Guinevere, I'm not going to try to say the last name, I'm so sorry. It's a long last name, has been cursed to aid a stranger once each century. Bound to a cruel spell woven by a jealous prince, the only way to break it is to fall in love and to be loved in return. Ooh, that's like a classic, I feel like, fairy tale trope. I like that. But 2 weeks has never been enough, and love was never the point until now. Mavramikali Bassiano is a washed-up knight with nothing left to fight for. I love a knight trope. I do. Until Quinn crashes into a tavern brawl and binds herself to his side, sarcastic, broken, and entirely unqualified for heroism. Mav agrees. Thank God he has a nickname because he has a long name. Mav agrees to help break her curse, mostly because he doesn't believe in love, especially not the kind that has a countdown. I'm not going to read the last part because I feel like that gets into like the storyline more, but okay. I love a knight trope. A moment for the cover. Gorgeous. There's no art in this one, but that's okay. Oh my gosh, there's a pronunciation guide. Thank God. A Fortnight to Forever has a 4.26 on Goodreads currently. It is not traditionally published, but it is on Kindle Unlimited, and I believe it's a standalone. Next we have The Poisoned Daughter. This one I feel like is kind of one of the more popular ones in this list, as it is getting traditionally published, but I think you may still be able to get a copy of the indie on Amazon if they're not out of stock. But this book has been making its rounds on TikTok in the last couple weeks, month, as being really hyped up, and I heard for good reason. I haven't read it yet, but this has a 4.43 on Goodreads currently, which is pretty good. It is currently on Kindle Unlimited, and it's a standalone, which we love. Let's see what The Poisoned Daughter is about. Every person Harlow Caranwell kisses dies immediately, and that's the way she likes it. The poison-lipped youngest daughter of Lulamaid's magical foundling family has used her power to annihilate their opposition. Her first husband is in the ground, the new betrothed is next, but the merry widow has a secret. When she's not acting as an assassin at her parents' whims, she moonlights as a vigilante for abused women in the walled-off city. That's interesting. Meet a man, lure him in, kill him with a kiss until one night Harlow kisses a man and he doesn't die. Okay, I'm into it. We might have to do this as a buddy read one month because I'm having FOMO of this. Next we have the most random book in this list. I've never seen anyone talk about this besides one person on YouTube like a month ago, and I wish I could find her handle because that's how I heard about this book, but it was like in passing or something. But this is The Child of Chevy. And I specifically bought this just because the cover. Because when I saw this book, I was like, this beautiful art is drawing me in, and I need this indie copy of it. This is a Fae world romantasy, secret assassin type trope. It sounds very interesting, and again, the cover is really gorgeous. This is what made me buy this book. I was like, I need this on my shelf. Yes. I do have these like really pretty like chapter pages, which I love. I looked it up. I don't think that this is a white shoes, but I mean, this art exists in the back, which loving. So I don't know, I guess I'll have to read it and find out. This has a 4.42 on Goodreads, so it's up there as far as ratings. This is not traditionally published yet that we know of. It is on Kindle Unlimited, and I think it's the first in a series. I haven't seen anything about like a second book, but on Goodreads it's listed as like #1. So I'm assuming there's going to be more books in this series. And I believe this is the author's debut. So that's really impressive that they have such a high rating for their first book. Next we have a whole trilogy that I kind of went ham and just bought because I was having FOMO, and I've seen people start to talk about this series. So it is not traditionally published yet. However, I would not be surprised if it does get traditionally published because of how much popularity I'm seeing float around online about it. People are comparing this to like epic levels, like Throne of Glass level quality. So the expectations are high with this one. This is the Shardless series by Stephanie Fisher. This is a Fae urban fantasy. Let me read you the synopsis just so you get kind of an idea of what this story and this world is about. When Tally was only 6 years old, a horrific fire swept through her village, stealing away her home, her family, and every memory of her previous life. 15 years later, she finds herself living on Tempris, an island on the fringes of the once mighty Fae Empire. Living as a human among a race of powerful and immortal mages, Tally is treated as barely more than an animal. They even have a name for her kind, Shardless. And that's all I need to know to be intrigued. And also, I just couldn't pass up these covers. This is book 1, Shardless. Book 2 is Acolyte. And book 3 is Dawnbringer. These are chunky books, rather large, but you can read these on Kindle Unlimited. 4.26 for this on Goodreads. The second book has a 4.28, and the third book actually has the lowest rating, which I'm kind of surprised by. Usually it's like the other way around, but that one has a 3.98, which I still consider pretty high. So I am really curious about this series. I think if I can get through a couple other series that I'm currently reading, then this will be high up on my TBR. And I just really want to get these indie copies because I feel like if this does get traditionally published, we don't know if we're gonna get these same gorgeous covers. Like, so unique. I love it. Very last indie book on my list. This is not a fantasy. I just was having a moment of being like, oh, maybe I'll like this random dark romance, and that is Under Your Scars. I feel like if you are in the dark romance reading space, you probably have heard of this book. If you're not like me and you're maybe just dipping your toes in a little bit, then maybe this is new to you. But this is about a serial unaliver who has a dark romance situation. I don't know. I'm just gonna try this out and see if I like it. See if I like this genre. I've only read a couple dark romances and they weren't really like that dark. So we'll see. But I really just wanted this indie copy. Well, I could still get it. We'll see if this one gets traditionally published, but you can read this on Goodreads currently, and this actually has a 4.33 on Goodreads, which is really good. There is one other book in the series, but I think it's just a novella. I always say that buying books and reading books are two different hobbies, so that is my indie book haul. These are all books that Jennifer and I have each bought, some at bookstores, some online, and by no means did we buy all these books at once. This was over the course of a couple months, but I thought it'd be fun to like just share our recent indie book haul with you guys. If you guys have any indie book recommendations, I would love to hear them because I love collecting and buying indie books. There's just something about them. They just feel different, and I just love the indie books. So let us know, and thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you so choose, and hopefully we'll see you again here soon. Bye-bye. Sorry, I'm getting text messages. Quinevere? I'm not gonna try to say her last name. I'm so sorry. Jennifer, this name is so hard.